Good morning. It's good to see you here today as we've gathered together for one more devotional. Excuse me while I get up and close this door I forgot to close. Just seems to give a better background to have that closed, in my opinion. It's good to see you with us, Valerie. We'll get started on our lesson today soon. Our lesson today will be about the life of Noah and how that through his life we learn our need for obedience. We read of Noah. Hey, Kathy joined us. Good morning, Kathy. It's good to see you today, too. I'll be reading today from the American Standard Version of the Bible. And we read in Hebrews 11, verse 7, this being what is considered the roll call of faith. Noah's there. It says, by faith Noah, being warned of God concerning things not seen as yet, moved with godly fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, through which he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness which is according to faith. So we have to understand that Noah moved by faith, just as this verse says. God had warned him that a flood was coming, and to our knowledge and from what we can read in the Bible, we can assume that the earth had not been flooded before. So, today we've seen floods, but Noah was acting on this at a time when a flood was unseen, and yet he went ahead and through faith obeyed the Lord and built the ark. Matter of fact, we are told in Genesis chapter 2 that there was a mist that came up that watered the earth. We don't know this for a fact. I will not teach this as a fact, but I will say this is a possibility. It may be that even at this time that mist still is what watered the earth, so it's possible that not only had the earth not flooded, but it's possible the earth had not even seen rain at that time, which would make what Noah did even more of a leap and show us even more his faith and belief in God. But we know that Noah did prepare the ark, did it out of faith, and he condemned the world. Well, actually, the world condemned itself by their sinful actions and by their not obeying Noah's preaching. But he saved himself, and the rest of the world was not saved. So in that sense, yes, he did condemn the world, and he became heir of the righteousness which is according to faith. Last night in our Bible study and in Genesis, I stated how that all of us have descended from Adam and Eve, which is true. But we don't even have to chase our genealogy back that far. We've all descended from Noah and his 3 sons. And so we know that from there the world was repopulated. So we know that we all have that common genealogy. I want us to notice here, as we read about Noah in Hebrews 11, that his faith was not a passive faith, but it was an active faith. It was a faith that made Noah take action. God told him what was coming, told him to build the ark. Noah did that. The writer James, in his book, tells us that an inactive faith is a dead faith. And so we need to have an active faith just like Noah did. I want us to consider the state of the world in Noah's time. We read of it in Genesis 6, verses 5 through 7. We read there, it said, and Jehovah saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it remembered that he had made man on the earth, and him at his heart. And Jehovah said, I will destroy man, whom I have created from the face of the ground, both man and beast and creeping things, and birds of the heavens, for it repenteth me that I have made them. It's a sad commentary on man at that time. It's a sad thing to see that man had gotten so wicked that the Lord was sorrowful that he had made man. The crown jewel of his creation had turned out that bad. What's even sadder today is the description that's given of the people then fits a whole lot of what's going on today. We have people today whose only thoughts are wickedness. All their imagination is evil. They only think of ways to mistreat other people, ways to make money, whether it's honest or not. Their mind is on filth continuously. We read of these people and they were destroyed. Well, we're not going to be destroyed by a flood, but the Lord will indeed destroy the earth again, and we don't want to be in the same state that the people of Noah's day was in. And I see that Miss Faye joined us. It's good to see you, Miss Faye. I'm glad you're with us. And so we've read about the state of wickedness during Noah's time on the earth, but we read something very different in Genesis 6, verse 8. It's there that we're told found favor, and a lot of versions here use the word grace, but that Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Well, how did he do that? Well, I think we can look down to Genesis 6, verse 22 and get a good idea of how. Genesis 6, verse 22 says, "Thus did Noah, according to all that God commanded him, so did he." Landon, it's good to see you join us. I'm happy to have you with us. And so Noah did what God told him to do, and that's how he found favor or grace in the eyes of the Lord. You know what? The same thing happens to us today. When we do according to what God says, we find favor in his eyes. Now, let's look, what did Noah do that God had told him to do? Well, God gave Noah instructions on how the ark should be built. Noah obeyed. Let's consider, if Noah had heard God's instructions and said, I think this thing's just a little bit too tall, so I'm going to cut it down a little bit. And I think it's a little, it could be a little bit longer, so I think I'll lengthen it a little bit. If Noah had built the ark according to what he wanted to do, it probably would have sunk. Noah did what the Lord told him, and so the Lord saved Noah and his families because Noah was obedient. 2 Paul 2 verse 5 tells us that Noah was a preacher of righteousness. Now Noah, despite all of his preaching and all of the years that he spent building the ark, which may have been up to 100 years, and all of the time that he was building the ark, he was preaching to the world to repent, and the world didn't listen. And when the day of the flood came, it was only Noah and his family, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives that were saved. And the rest of the world perished in the flood. There's something for us to think about today, that we need to do right even when the world around us continues to do wrong. We look to the words of Jesus in Matthew 7, verses 13 and 14, and it's there that Jesus says, "Enter ye in by the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction." We need to do what is right, because if we want to be right with God, we have to separate ourselves from the ways of the world. We need to strive to put our faith into action by practicing and by teaching righteousness. Yes, we need to do what's right, but you know what? We need to share with others what is right and hold them accountable for doing what is right. And it may be that when we do that it can be said of us that we found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Let us strive to live our lives in such a way that it can be said that we found favor in the eyes of the Lord. I thank you today. I hope you'll continue to watch as we have these daily devotionals. We'll do it again tomorrow at 10 o'clock, and I invite you to join us. And I invite you to join us for worship services at the Bearden Church of Christ. We meet on Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock for Bible study. We meet at 11 and 5 for our worship services. Wednesday nights we meet at 6:30 for study. And on Thursday nights we have an online Bible study at 7 o'clock that I hope you could be a part of too. Come visit with us. We look forward to seeing you. Have a great day, everybody. Goodbye, and God bless you.